Did you know that faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the Word of Yah? My goal is to bless you with the Word. Listen to it while you're driving. Listen to it while you're walking along the way. Listen to it when you lay down at night. Listen to the Word.
Mark chapter 7, verse 31 through chapter 8, verse 38. Then he left the district of Tizor and went through to Zidon to Lake Kinneret and on to the region of the 10 towns. They brought him a man who was deaf and had a speech impediment and asked Yahawashi to lay his hands on him. Taking him off alone away from the crowd, Yahawashi put his fingers into the man's ears, spat, and touched his tongue. Then, looking up to heaven, he gave a deep groan and said to him, "Hipatach!" That is, be opened. His ears were opened, his tongue was freed, and he began speaking clearly. Yahawashi ordered the people to tell no one, but the more he insisted, the more zealously they spread the news. People were overcome with amazement. Everything he does well, they said. He even makes the deaf hear and the dumb speak. It was during that time that another large crowd gathered, and they had nothing to eat. Yahawashi called his talmidim to him and said to them, "I feel sorry for these people because they have been with me 3 days and now they have nothing to eat. If I send them off to their homes hungry, they will collapse on the way. Some of them have come a long distance." His talmidim said to him, "How can anyone find enough bread to satisfy these people in a remote place like this?" "How many loaves do you have?" he asked them. They answered, 7. He then told the crowd to sit down on the ground, took the 7 loaves, made a barakah, broke the loaves, and gave them to his talmidim to serve to the people. They also had a few fish. Making a barakah over them, he also ordered these to be served. The people ate their fill, and the talmidim took up the leftover pieces, 7 large basketfuls. About 4,000 were there. After sending them away, Yahawashi got into the boat with his talmidim and went off to the district of Dalmanuta. The Perushim came and began arguing with him. They wanted him to give them a sign from heaven because they were out to trap him. With a sigh that came straight from his heart, he said, "Why does this generation want a sign? Yes, I tell you, no sign will be given to this generation." With that, he left them, got into the boat again, and went off to another side of the lake. Now, the talmidim had forgotten to bring bread and had with them in the boat only 1 loaf. So when Yahawashi said to them, "Watch out, guard yourselves from the hametz of the Perushim and the hametz of Herod," they thought he had said it because they had no bread. But aware of this, he said, "Why are you talking with each other about having no bread? Don't you see or understand yet? Have your hearts been made like stone? You have eyes, don't you see? You have ears, don't you hear? And don't you remember? When I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000, how many baskets full of broken pieces did you collect?" 12, they answered. "And when I broke the 7 loaves for the 4,000, how many baskets full of broken pieces did you collect?" 7, they answered. He said to them, "And you still don't understand." They came to Beit Sadeh. Some people brought him a blind man and begged Yahawashi to touch him. Taking the blind man's hand, he led him outside the town. He spit in his eyes, put his hands on him, and asked him, "Do you see anything?" He looked up and said, "I see people, but they look like walking trees." Then he put his hands on the blind man's eyes again. He peered intently, and his eyesight was restored so that he could see everything distinctly. Yahawashi sent him home with the words, "Don't go into town." Yahawashi and his talmidim went on to the towns of Caesarea Philippi. On the way, he asked his talmidim, "Who are people saying that I am?" "Some say you are Yochanan the Immerser," they told him. "Others say Eliyahu, and still others, one of the prophets." "But you," he asked, "who do you say I am?" Kepha answered, "You are the Mashiach." Then Yahawashi warned them not to tell anyone about him. He began teaching them that the Son of Man had to endure much suffering and be rejected by the elders, the head Kohanim, and the Torah teachers, and that he had to be put to death, but that after 3 days he had to rise again. He spoke very plainly about it. Kepha took him aside and began rebuking him, but turning around and looking at his talmudim, he rebuked Kepha. "Get behind me, Satan," he said, "for your thinking is from a human perspective, not from the Most High's perspective." Then Yahawashi called the crowd and his talmudim to him and told them, "If anyone wants to come after me, let him say no to himself, take up his execution stake, and keep following me. For whoever wants to save his own life will destroy it, but whoever destroys his life for my sake and for the sake of the good news will save it. Indeed, what will it benefit a person if he gains the whole world but forfeits his life? What could a person give in exchange for his life? For if someone is ashamed of me and of what I say in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man also will be ashamed of him when he comes in his Father's glory with the holy angels."